Alright, so this episode we're going to get the engine in pretty much in its entirety. If you've never put a set of headers in an A-body Mopar, you'll see why people complain about it. If you've never heard them complain about it, you'll see maybe why they would complain about it. And I don't think it matters what brand of header, because they all have their challenges in my experience. But definitely moving along, getting closer and closer to starting this thing up and making it do car stuff again. So keep checking out the videos, and I appreciate you. All right, do it again. Man, y'all got some fire coming out from underneath it. All right, so I figured I would turn the camera on and at least document this hideousness. Still fighting the first header, of course. Did come to the conclusion that whenever they make these headers, they don't clean that arch very well, because it actually wouldn't let the header go all the way that way, and it's the same way on that back one. So I could tell that it wasn't all the way over, but it still was stopping before it would let us line that bolt up. So if you're getting a set of Hedmans and you're going to put them on, especially if they're one where you got to drop the motor in the car, this header actually would come out if I took off the oil adapter right there. But just check those and make sure they're clean. If it's like that on the other side, it's going to be a lot worse. And this is the easy side. It's a big confidence builder. I may have to get in here with a punch and make room for that nut to go in. You know, they ding them, but probably going to have some more room. There we go for now. So I went a few different routes. I was going to put a stud here. Stud didn't work. I did have to beat on the header. Nothing like beating on a $700 set of headers to make you happy. I was going to do a stud and 12-point nut, but I couldn't beat that header in enough to fit the box end of the 3/8 wrench in between it and the header. So took one of the old header bolts that is a regular 7/16, and I can actually get on it with the open end, whereas you can't do that with a 12-point. So maybe a 6-point 3/8 nut would have worked, but that's going to be the solution as good as I can get it. And then I'm going to tighten these up, and I'll get on to that other header, which I am even less excited about because headers just suck. Can't remember what I had the air hose out for, but I think I can put it away now. I did end up having to buy a 7/16 12-point 1/4-inch drive that I'm hoping I can get to this nut back here with. The 3/8 drive stuff, kind of, you know, where it flares out to go to the 3/8 drive, it crashes into the header tube, so man, there's no room there.
Tough times I've been going through, some tough times and I'm overdue. A good sign, maybe something new, some good times, give me any clue. Cause I don't wanna be left over, I just wanna know how it feels to have closure. tough times I've been going through, some tough times
Yeah.
I've been going through.
I feel like something's missing. My life's a little dull, think I have a condition. Everything I do, I just feel like I'm existing. I'm in a bad mood and there ain't no point resisting. My mind is on a mission to make me feel different. I don't wanna listen, but it's hard when it's persistent. Darkness is gripping, quicksand sifting. I've been sinking into this pit for a minute.
Tough times I've been going through, some tough times and I'm overdue. A good sign, maybe something new, some good times, give me any clue. Cause I don't wanna be left over, I just wanna know how it feels to have closure. Tough times I've been going through, some tough times I've been going through.
Tough. Yeah, this one's got clearance problems. This one's gonna have to get beat on. Now, clearance problems where the header kind of crashes into stuff, like the steering gearbox bolts, or back here on the steering column. Those are not the fault of the header manufacturer. There's just no damn room. But there is a clearance problem where the bolt will not fit in between the header and the block. Like, the bolt just, there's not enough physical room for the head of the bolt to clear the header pipe. That, where they didn't dimple the block enough, is infuriating, and that is totally on the header manufacturer. That's nobody else. I mean, they put that, there's a dimple here. It is, they could have just left it out and it would have been about the same point. That tiny little dimple right there, it actually doesn't even line up with the bolt head. So it's not useful at all. But, you know. So I contemplated, I tried to come up with a way to dent, I think it is this tube back here, comes up all the way up here, crashes into the bolt, that the bottom bolt that holds the steering gearbox in place. So it's that tube that needs a good smacking. Then back here, when everything's actually in place, this tube is hitting the bottom of the steering column right here. So that needs a good smack. I might leave this area alone because when it's all in place, that one doesn't actually hit, although it's touching right now. So maybe give it a smack. And then right back here where they think this little ding right here is enough to get a bolt in, that definitely has to get a good smack with a hammer. So unfortunately, being that all those things need to happen, after contemplating and looking and then contemplating again and realizing that there is no other choice, if I really want to clean this up on one try,
I need to unhook that header and then pull this motor enough to get this header out, which is a lot. So I should have started with this header instead of that one. I avoided it because, well, it sucks. And I've got bell housing bolts in, which kind of have to do to get everything where you know it needs to be. But unfortunately, I'm gonna pop this motor out. Then I'm gonna heat up some tubes. Then I'm gonna hit some stuff with the hammer. I'll put valve cover bolts in a few threads just so I don't lose them. I really don't want to pull the engine, but it's going to take a lot longer to dent those headers in the places I need to get to with the engine in the car than it would if I pull it and do it well one time instead of really poorly 3 or 4 times. So that was my final conclusion. Like I say, not something I'm super excited about, but you know, what are you gonna do? I just don't want to fight with it over and over again and then end up having to pull the engine anyway. So I'm just going to skip the step. But that means we got to go over here. And we're going to unbolt this header. But we kind of know this won't hook up now, so that's good. It'll probably go back in. We just did it once, so probably do it a second time. I will say that when you spend, now I didn't spend $700 on these headers, but that's because I bought them in clearance at Summit for like $300. But they're like $670 or something, new with the coatings and stuff. When a person spends that kind of money, they have some expectation that they're going to fit. And this side almost fit, except it needs more beating. It really could use a couple smacks of the hammer right here on this pipe just to make it easier to get the box into your wrench in there. But, you know, whatever. But, you know, once they have a prototype that works, I think the ones they build after that just get, you know, like a quick tink, like that little dent in that tube on that side. It's not going to do anything. I mean, these are the headers for this car, supposedly. I just don't think they care if they fit or not, because they know you're going to have to do. They know that you have an expectation you're going to have to work on them.
So they just go meh. Come on. What are we doing? Yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to come out of there. More up. Probably better get these wires so I don't end up ripping a wire off. Making them shorter. Just something I'd rather not be doing. And you got oil filter adapter on this header. There. That header would pop right out right now. Driver's side, not so much. You're alright. Get the camera and show you where we're hitting. This whole thing looks nice and safe, yeah. Okay. It's this back tube, comes down right here. It crashes into the bolt for the gearbox, and then right here is hitting on this part of the steering column. I don't know if you can see it was rubbing down there or not. Not really. And then really I think that clearance right there is going to be fine. But I could probably give it a whack just for good measure. I'm just not sure where it's hitting. What a mess these are. But additionally, I kept talking about the tube that needs to be dented. That's the little ding they put in, thinking that's going to give you enough space for a bolt that goes right here. So this little ding is not even in the right area. And then it sticks out where the head of the bolt goes. I'm not sure what they think it's going to do, but it doesn't do anything. So I'm going to have to ding that part in a bit. I'm going to have to hammer this part in for sure. This is our primary clearance problem. And then I'm going to get this guy where it's rubbing the steering column.
I'm fighting inside. Some days, I'm fighting inside. Some days, I'm fighting inside. Some days.
I know Engine Masters did a thing saying it really doesn't change much, but it sure doesn't feel good to do it.
I'm fighting inside. I'm fighting inside. I'm fighting inside.
picture right now. What an ass whip. Okay, so we have successfully have 6 bolts where they're supposed to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can barely. Now you can see I had to use 6-point on 2 of these because I got no space for 12-point to fit. That one physically touches. You can actually feel the head of the bolt rotate against the header. But you see they did a great job of notching it where the bolt's not at. But I mean, it's in there. Now again, that same spot that that I was struggling with to begin with, which is way down there, there's still interference, but I can now line the bolts up, so I guess that's a victory. So I guess I'm going to tighten up this header and then I'll move on to the other header, which it'll probably somehow not fit now. You know, whatever. And you kind of got to run them 7/16 in as you go, or else they get bound up and not happy. Which is a pain in the butt. But at least you can actually tighten down the header bolts. Okay, I'm gonna have to get a different 7/16. Oh my goodness. Terrible.
Been going through some tough times, and I never do. On the good side, maybe something new. Some good times, give me any clue. 'Cause I don't wanna be left over. I just wanna know how it feels to have closure. Tough times, I've been going through. Some tough times, I've been going through. I gotta break out of this. I'll do anything, take any risk. I just need to find my way to live. Something in this life that's worth it. I'm sick of feeling so worthless. I need to find a path that's worth it. Break through the walls that are nervous. I'm free to find my purpose. Tough times I've been going through. Some tough.
One more look at this 7/16 oddball thing. That's it. Full set of headers installed. Horrible. Now I gotta tighten this full filter adapter. Oh, man down. Man down. Okay, so I did some things off camera. I installed the power steering pump. I actually replaced this power steering pump quite a while back. The other one was just really nasty, so I got a new pump and then swapped the pulley over to this one. Power steering line I've had for a while. It all went in pretty clean. But next, well, the main thing, I was going to start it without the power steering, but the water pump is driven off the same belt, so went ahead and did that and then measured for the belt.
wanna
Alright, so we have an alternator that adjusts like it's supposed to. And I'm going to get the camera, show you what we did here. Show you what we're working on, and then what I'm talking about with the belts. Okay. Alternator installed. Down there is the adjustment bolt to actually hold your adjustment. Pivot bolt. Pivot bolt is actually part of the AC brackets. Real pain in the butt. AC bracket bolts here. Then is supported by 2 bolts down here. Supported at the intake here, and it also bolts through the water pump here. This is the heater hose I put on beforehand, so I wouldn't have to fight it. And it also bolts here. So AC compressor is on simply for the brackets. What I had in my brain was I was going to pull this compressor out and just make spacers for these 2 bolts that run through the compressor. That doesn't work because I don't have a pulley puller for this clutch. And you know, maybe they still make one, but there's a very good chance they don't. When I painted this compressor, I went ahead and taped off the factory part number. Look at it, it's like brand new. And then this shows your freon capacity, which is almost 3 pounds of R12, which would cost you a fortune. We already did power steering pump. Power steering pump runs water pump off of crank, so it's just waiting. So I'm going to get 3 belts, 2 for the alternator, which seems a little overkill since I'm not running the compressor, but I'll go ahead and do it. And 1 for the power steering pump and water pump, and that will have me in a position to where the vehicle can get cooled off while I'm trying to break in the camshaft, which currently is my biggest fear on the planet right now. So those camshafts are having some troubles, and lifters, and this is a flat tappet, flat hydraulic, and they're the ones that are having the struggles. So there we go. I'll hook up some more of this stuff later. Wife's home. I'm gonna go and eat food and decide if I'm coming back out or not. Alright, so I ordered belts. 1 for Of course, I had to measure for the 1 belt. I came out with 41 inches. Supposedly you add 2 inches to that to get the outside diameter of the belt. That gave me 43-inch belt. 43-inch belt was just short, so I ended up having to go get a different belt. Yeah, this one's not the one that has to go to the fan. I can only run 1 belt, even though the alternator and AC compressor have pulleys set up for 2 belts, because we're not actually going around this AC compressor pulley. It ends up being too short or I mean, it actually, if you run the second belt, it hits the water pump. So that doesn't work. We're cooking with bacon grease now, or bacon with cooking grease. I'm not sure. Something. All right, so we got water pump, power steering, and alternator. That should do it for those. Anyway, off of that mess for a minute. The heater hoses are hooked up. Belts are installed. 4 up at the carburetor on. I do believe I need to go ahead and rebuild it. So, or, you know, just take it apart, look inside, make sure it looks serviceable.